Today on Investigate TV Plus Weekend, untraceable guns, deadly consequences. A grieving father fights for justice as ghost guns flood the streets.
I think she could have changed the world because that's just how bright, smart, and great she was.
Plus, car thefts at airports are flying high across the country. Now a former thief shows us how cars are targeted.
Knowing what you know now, would you park your car in an airport parking lot?
No, I wouldn't.
And first responders face a violent reality, being assaulted by the very people they're trying to help.
It's something that we're really anxious about. We were called there to help somebody, and that's our intent when we go there, is to be there for somebody to help our community.
Investigate TV Plus Weekend starts right now. Hello and welcome to Investigate TV Plus Weekend. I'm Lee Zurich. The number of homemade weapons turning up at crime scenes is exploding. From using kits online to 3D printers, reporter Chris Nakamoto finds gaps in tracking. Of a New Orleans high school student who was killed in January by accidental discharge has been sentenced to 3 years probation and around $5,500 in restitution paid to the family. 15-year-old Kennedy Belton was a freshman at Warren Easton High School. On January 29th, Belton was at a friend's house in New Orleans East. 19-year-old Andre Skinner was in the adjoining room tinkering with a gun. He told police as he was taking the gun apart, he did not check to see if the chamber was loaded.
I think she could have changed the world because that's just how bright, smart, and great she was.
Thomas Belton's pride is palpable.
Tell me about your daughter.
She was beautiful, beautiful soul, beautiful spirit, beautiful person. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful person.
His grief discernible, as he now refers to his 15-year-old daughter, Kennedy Belton, in the past tense. Heartache and questions linger. It was January 29th, 2023, when Kennedy went to a friend's house in New Orleans. She never came home. Belton gets uneasy thinking about the phone call from Kennedy's mom that changed his life forever.
Do you remember what she said?
She was crying over the phone, and she said Kennedy was killed at a sleepover.
Somebody give me my baby, y'all.
I hate New Orleans. I hate that my best friend is not with me.
Friends and family memorialized her budding life with a sea of pink and white balloons released high into the sky. Detectives say a 19-year-old in another room was taking a weapon apart when it went off. The bullet traveled through the wall and killed Kennedy. Documents show the gun recovered was untraceable, an unserialized 9mm semi-automatic pistol, a Polymer 80, one of the nation's largest producers of gun kits and parts. Commonly referred to as ghost guns, the weapons are made with kits bought online or using parts purchased without any background checks. Fully assembled, the weapons don't have serial numbers.
Well, we don't refer to them as ghost guns. That's kind of a street vernacular term that everybody uses on the street. We call them privately made firearms.
Bernard Hansen is a special agent in charge at the Kansas City Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. He says unserialized weapons have become such a problem in America, the ATF has logged dramatic increases in recent years.
The difference between what is called a privately made firearm and a regular firearm is they function the same, but a privately made firearm doesn't have any of the required markings that firearms you would buy from a licensed dealer. That's required by law.
Hansen believes these privately made firearms, or PMFs, are so prolific because they can be assembled in less than an hour. The ATF used 3D printers as examples, showing the ease of how quickly the guns can be made by simply ordering pieces and parts online. So someone who otherwise couldn't legally have a gun could get one pretty easily.
This example right here, one of our PMF experts assembled this in less than 24 hours. From start using his 3D printer with the filament to creating this, to adding the parts, was ready to go in under 24 hours. Traditional polymer 80% kit like this with a jig, you don't really have to know what you're doing too much, and you can probably assemble it in an hour. If you're really good, you can do it quicker.
Even though there are more registered guns than people in America, the actual number is unknown even to the ATF. That's because we found record keeping for ghost gun data is inconsistent across America's law enforcement agencies. The ATF tracks firearm recoveries through a tracing program, but it doesn't mean all ghost gun data makes it there. The discrepancy could be a result of different terms local agencies use to describe ghost guns. For example, polymer 80s, which are made with kits online, and other hobbyist guns without serial numbers could be classified as PMFs, while other cities may call them ghost guns. Without universal terms, tracking gets tricky.
How big is the education component for the local law enforcement agencies so that everybody gets on the same page, like calling it the same thing?
It's huge. And, sometimes when terms, street vernacular, not take over, it's just what society refers to them as. But us training the locals, whether it's police officers, sheriff's department, deputies, prosecutors, it's getting everybody on the same page so they understand what they're looking at.
When a firearm is recovered at a crime scene, the gun is typically processed and run through a firearms program maintained by the ATF.
That department will take the gun in. When they're doing their processing for their investigation, they'll enter it into our tracing program to see if they can determine where the gun was originally manufactured, who was the original purchaser. They help give them leads in their investigation to track down with whatever they know.
Investigate TV filed a series of public records requests in 12 cities we picked across America to get their ghost gun or unserialized weapon data. Of the cities that responded from 2021 to 2023, Las Vegas reported 1,092, Kansas City 128, New Orleans 97, followed by 10 in Cleveland. Nashville started tracking them last year, recovering 56 through the beginning of November 2024. Between 2016 and 2021, the ATF reported 45,240 of such weapons recovered from crime scenes.
I would say we've seen 1,000% increase, and I'm being conservative on that, over the last 5 to 8 years in recoveries.
Of those 45,000 ghost gun recoveries, nearly 700 of them were from homicides or attempted homicides. The sobering problem of ghost guns being used in deadly crimes led to new rules on unserialized weapons by the Biden administration. In 2022, the definition of a firearm changed to add unfinished parts to better track them. The rule clarified that these kits qualify as firearms and commercial manufacturers must be licensed, perform background checks, and include serial numbers on them. But since then, there have been questions about whether the White House has that type of authority. In Texas and Louisiana federal courts, judges struck down the change, saying the ATF doesn't have the authority without congressional action. In March of this year, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the new ATF rules. As laws catch up with technology, nearly a dozen states have enacted their own bans on ghost guns. For Thomas Belton, no regulations will bring Kennedy back and ease his outrage. 8 months after Kennedy's death, her killer, 19-year-old Andre Skinner, pled guilty to negligent homicide and negligent injuring. Facing 5 years in prison, her family says Skinner got what amounts to a slap on the wrist. A judge sentenced Skinner to 3 years of probation and a $5,000 fine.
And I can't believe that we lost a child.
It's why Belton is speaking up in hopes of stopping someone else from feeling the throbbing pain now part of his daily life.
You buy a gun, this ghost gun, and you take someone else's life, and their parents and siblings don't have her around anymore, and you get 3 years probation. It's unheard of.
How do you even digest that?
I can't. You can't.
Last July, Polymer 80 ceased operations, citing the high cost of defending itself in court.
I have seen multiple vehicles that would be appealing if I was still involved in auto theft.
Coming up, is your car going on a trip while you're on vacation? A former thief takes us through a major airport parking lot where hundreds of passengers' cars have been stolen. Imagine stepping off a plane eager to head home only to find your car has vanished. Thieves have stolen thousands of vehicles from parking lots at airports nationwide, with car theft numbers doubling year over year. Reporter Brendan Keefe exposes gaps in airport security and shows how one victim cleverly tracked down his stolen car.
Right turn, right turn.
At no point was I thinking that my car was going to be stolen.
What is it like seeing the car you own in a police chase and you're not in it?
Is this really happening?
2 males out of the car right now. Driver is taking off.
And do I even want this car? You know what I mean? Like, is it going to be, what's it going to be like now? It could have been used in committing other crimes.
Get on the ground! Get on the ground! No, we got both. We got both, sir. 2 in custody.
Good job, guys.
You're one of the lucky ones. You got your car back.
And I'm so grateful for that.
West Clark was out of the country when his BMW was stolen from what he thought would be the safest place in Atlanta, the airport. What do you think of the security at the airport in the parking garage?
I think that there isn't any real security at the airport in the parking garage.
The thieves, working in pairs, piggybacked through the exit without paying.
Please insert ticket.
Here's the secret.
Please wait. Thank you.
No charge, because they weren't here long enough to incur one. These thieves are getting into the lot for free with another stolen car, stealing a second car, piggybacking that second car behind the first stolen car, and they pay nothing and they end up getting your car.
That's clearly a big gap, right? They should have something present that identifies when 2 vehicles are passing through.
Another car stolen in Metro Atlanta.
More than 300 cars were stolen from the Atlanta airport last year.
A stolen vehicle from the airport.
A trend at airports nationwide, from Philadelphia.
Some lawmakers blame the problem on lax security.
To the Honolulu airport. We requested theft data from dozens of airport police departments nationwide. 17 of the 18 that responded had spikes in auto thefts during the last 3 years. Denver saw the biggest jump. This theft ring stole pickup trucks from across Denver, including the airport, then used them to commit other crimes, in this case, stealing entire ATMs. More than 1,300 cars have been stolen from Denver's airport in less than 4 years.
For everyone else, this is a place to park while they're traveling. For a thief, it's like a shopping mall.
Correct.
Hondo Underwood should know.
How many cars in your auto theft career did you steal?
I cannot put a number on how many vehicles I've stolen. They say upwards of 200.
Arrested in 2017, the former Marine showed Denver police how he could steal a car in under 7 seconds. Now he's helping us help you to see the airport through the eyes of a former thief.
Knowing what you know now, would you park your car in an airport parking lot?
No, I wouldn't. People park luxury vehicles like a Rolls Royce, and you're leaving this $1 million vehicle parked in an underground parking garage while you're taking a flight somewhere.
Here at the Denver airport, car thieves use the snow to their advantage. It helps them pick which car to steal.
The vehicles that don't have snow are probably vehicles that just got here. Once they're in the airport, they're not coming back out for a while.
The Denver airport installed new cameras and added security. The airport went from nearly 700 cars stolen in 2023 to fewer than 250 as of November 2024.
We've been here so long, the sun has set, and no one has stopped us or questioned us.
We've been in and out of up and down garages, slowing down, stopping, driving around in circles multiple times on the same level. Not once have I seen a cop, an armed security guard, anything like that. So I would say this is definitely an easy place to find a target.
I'm gonna stay with the driver, the passenger stay.
Back in Atlanta,
I got him over here by the patrol car.
West Clark's BMW was recovered thanks to Apple AirTags he left in his car before he parked at the airport.
AirTags are a lot cheaper than cars, and in this case, it helped you get your car back.
It absolutely did. I had an AirTag that is easier to find, and it was in the trunk. And then I had a second AirTag that was farther into the body of the car, so it'd be hard for anyone who stole it to find it.
Your car taking a trip of its own while you are on vacation, and you come home to an empty parking spot.
The reformed car thief agreed with the AirTag idea, but said that only helps you get your car back.
What would you do parking in this airport parking garage to keep your car from getting stolen?
The only way to protect your car 100% is to install a hidden ignition switch.
A kill switch.
A kill switch, correct.
Professional alarm companies can install an ignition switch and hide it where only you can find it. It cuts power between the battery and the ignition, so the car won't start until you flip the hidden switch. Up next,
Just struck in the head multiple times, kicked.
first responders risk their lives to save others, but researchers say they're increasingly becoming targets themselves. We dig into what's fueling this alarming rise in attacks. When firefighters arrive at a scene, they expect to fight the fires, not the people they're trying to save. But assaults against firefighters and EMS workers are plaguing departments all across the country. Reporter Katie Kamen in Georgetown, South Carolina, explains why researchers say the problem is only going to get worse.
For Lieutenant David Scoggins, working at Georgetown County Fire and EMS involves risk. Saving lives and fighting fires comes with its share of danger. But one danger he didn't anticipate: getting attacked by the very people he's trying to help.
Struck in the head multiple times, kicked.
In the 13 years Scoggins has worked for Georgetown County Fire and EMS, he says he's been assaulted 6 times. In his 38-year career, that number is more than triple. And during these assaults, Scoggins is locked in the ambulance alone as the patient punches, grabs, kicks, and brawls.
In the back of the ambulance, there's nowhere to go. We have no help until the driver realizes that there's a problem in the back of the truck and can get pulled over and get back where he can help you. But a lot can happen in that time.
Scoggins isn't the only one who's getting attacked while caring for a patient or helping on scene. Chief James Falkenhagen says they're seeing around 10 to 12 violent assaults per year.
It's about 10 to 12 times too many.
That means, on average, nearly every month, one of their employees is attacked trying to save someone's life.
It's something that we're really anxious about. We were called there to help somebody, and that's our intent when we go there, is to be there for somebody to help our community.
For many first responders, the attacks almost seem inevitable.
It's not a matter of if it's going to happen, it's a matter of when.
Lieutenant Alan Holmes says crews know there's a difference between a medical episode and an intentional aggressive assault. It's that second category causing the concern.
Instances of assaults have grown so much that there's actually a training course out there. When you're at the point where you have to teach, EMS providers how to defend themselves, that shows there's a problem nationwide.
Researchers at Drexel University agree there's a serious problem at hand.
Between 57 and 93% of fire and EMS responders have experienced an act of verbal or physical violence at least once in their career.
Drexel's Center for Firefighter Injury Research and Safety Trends, or FIRST Center, examines the violence and hazards these first responders experience. Executive Director Dr. Jennifer Taylor says part of the problem stems from a growing number of calls. Since 1980, they've found calls for medical services to fire departments have gone up by 420%. But the number of firefighters and EMS personnel has not increased at the same rate.
We're doing much, much more, which much less, and that stresses the fire service. Obviously, the community is stressed. That's why they're calling the fire department. And when those things come together, you have a perfect storm for violence.
This violence, Taylor says, has far-reaching implications beyond physical injuries.
When they get back to quarters or when they go home, there's a price to pay. And if we are not giving them appropriate resources to recover from stressful events that they experience, or just the constant need for service that our communities are asking for, they're going to break, and then we're going to break as a society because they're not going to be there for us when we need them.
Taylor says there are solutions. Making sure department policy allows first responders the autonomy to remove themselves from dangerous situations, and training them how to tackle the mental toll of the job and how to de-escalate situations.
We need to make sure we're looking out for those people who do a lot of the work that is very hazardous, very emotionally demanding, and we need to make sure we can track their injuries and their experiences and their exposures so that we can prevent it.
But at Georgetown Fire and EMS, they believe the true solution comes from the community and making sure people know the impacts their behavior and choices make on first responders.
We're there to help. I mean, we're trying to help somebody. We're not trying to be part of the problem. We're trying to help resolve the problem.
Coming up, they'll promise big returns but leave you with empty pockets. How you can spot investment scam red flags before your money vanishes. Next. Since 2020, the Better Business Bureau has received more than 4,000 reports from consumers about investment scams, many of which involve cryptocurrency. Reporter Carice Jackman spoke with the BBB about what they're noticing and how you can prevent yourself from falling for these investment schemes in this week's Watching Your Wallet.
Investment scams are on the rise, according to a report by the BBB.
The most interesting aspect of an investment scam is how it kind of ties a lot of different scams together for the end game of getting your money.
McGovern says fraudsters will often impersonate a friend or a potential lover in order to gain your trust. Then they'll bring up some kind of investment opportunity. One woman, for example, told the BBB she experienced a cryptocurrency scam on social media after her friend's social media account was hacked.
And the more they get you on that emotional hook of either friendship or romantic interest, the more likely we see that people will fall for it and start to give money.
McGovern says the scammer will often show you fake returns on your investment, so you're more likely to give more money. These newer schemes have caused losses to rise, with the median reports increasing from 1,000 in 2021 to almost 6,000 in 2024. To avoid these scams, McGovern says learn how the industry works before you invest.
Educating yourself about investments, working with an accredited licensed professional on investments, not just somebody you meet through a social media platform or a dating app, but actually finding somebody who can explain it to you.
So be aware of what you're investing and where before you give anyone your hard-earned money.
And that's it for us. Thanks for joining us here on Investigate TV Plus Weekend. Our in-depth coverage continues. You can get connected to Investigate TV Plus on all social media platforms.